Welcome, Star Warriors. Today we're going to discuss how I knew Luke Skywalker was a dead man the moment he showed up on film in The Last Jedi. I actually got my first hints. I had my first worries about what direction they were going to take his character in during the first teaser trailer. They kind of give you this sense that he's going to be a mentored character at the beginning of the trailer. He's got this monologue over each scene that, goes on, passes off the screen, where he seems pretty, like he's fitting well into the mentor role, and he's, not against training Rey at all. He seems like a fairly positive character. And then, first he's, breathe, what do you see? She's like the light, the dark, the balance. He's like, it's so much more than that, which is interesting that those lines didn't necessarily make it into the film that way. But that's besides the point. Let's move on. Of course, everyone knows about the infamous "I only know one truth, it's time for the Jedi to end" line, and that's the line that kind of gave it away for me at first, where I'm like, oh, that's a pathetic thing. That's pathetic dialogue. Luke Skywalker isn't a pathetic character. He would never say that. And it was at that point that I started getting clued in to where they were going to, how they were going to direct his character, force his character into a pathetic role. And, if a youngish character who is on the hero's journey is going through a pathetic storyline, that's one thing. That character is obviously meant to come out of their depression. An old character who has had his day, the movie's not about him, starts out the movie as a pathetic character. He's in a different position from a Hollywood standpoint. From a Hollywood standpoint, that character is never meant to come out of his depression, really. At least not alive, anyway. I've seen it happen time and time again to characters I loved. One of the instances that always comes to mind first and foremost when I'm thinking of this is the Connor McLeod character from the Highlander franchise. He was basically the original Highlander. I believe the movie came out in 1986, where he played a rather iconic role. The movie wasn't popular in theaters. It became a cult classic later on, playing the headline role as the Highlander. And I liked the show. It, in a lot of ways, was better than the movie. A lot better done. In some ways, it was a lot worse. But I had a soft spot in my heart for the movie, and the film was just, sort of like icing on the cake or whatever. But the show lasted 6 years, and there were only, 3 movies with the original guy, and the movies were never really all that popular, unfortunately. And so they sort of had this one movie, like over a decade after the original movie, where they put the guy in the show together with the guy from the movie. And from scene 1, the guy from the original movie was just pathetic. He was living this pathetic life, and you could just see it in every scene that this guy is given up, basically without a fight. And the movie was just there to sort of push the guy from the show into the forefront. And the thing about this is, at this point in time, the show is over. You know, the show is done. It lasted 6 seasons or whatever, and it had gone off several years before this movie came out. But still, they were really pushing this show guy, in the movies now, and really pushing the original movie character into the background. You know, I mean, he was completely pathetic. He would not fight, and eventually he ended up sacrificing his life so that his friend, the show Highlander, could defeat the villain. Much like Luke Skywalker did in The Last Jedi. Yeah, the writing was on the wall the moment that Luke Skywalker tossed his lightsaber towards the ocean. You know, from that moment on, I realized that this guy is going to be a pathetic character from beginning to end. And there's only one place for characters who are pathetic from beginning to end. You know, I should say, characters who are of, you know, advanced age, when they're portrayed as being pathetic losers from beginning to end, they're gonna die. You know, that character has, a character written like that has nothing to offer the movie, and it has nothing to offer movies that follow. Now, I went into the film completely expecting him to die. I did not go into the film completely expecting them to make him such a pathetic character, though. You know, I knew there was going to be a part of the film where he was going to have a crisis of conscience because of the trailer. You know, you don't say the Jedi are going to end, or the Jedi need to end, unless you're having some sort of, you know, personal crisis or something like that. Not if you're Luke Skywalker. I didn't know he was going to be like that from the moment he stepped on screen, basically to the moment he died. And I know some people are out there saying, well, you know, he came out of it at the end, he sacrificed him. That's pathetic. He never left that stupid island he was on. The entire ending scene, the entire quote-unquote fight scene between him and Kylo Ren was a lie. The legend of Luke Skywalker ends on a lie. You know, he was really this disheveled old man who refused to show up to take care of the problem he caused. The resistance fighters that were in that cave or in that rebel base did not need him to show up so that they can escape. Rey had already arrived. She was already moving rocks. So what if the First Order blew open the blast door? You know, big deal. It would take them time to do that. And eventually, Poe would end up following that little fox thing, and Rey would be back there lifting rocks to let them all escape in the Millennium Falcon. So what did Luke die for? To spark this legend? Well, let's listen to what Rian Johnson has to say about that.
That was part of the challenge with the character of Luke, is right. I felt like I couldn't have him on the island because he's a coward or he's given up. He had to have an active reason he was there. His reason is he genuinely believes the Jedi are a hindrance to the galaxy, and so it actually turns it into this kind of heroic act he's taken on his shoulders of he knows his friends are suffering and he's making the choice to do the most painful, difficult thing for him, which is take himself out of...
Now let's get Mark Hamill's response to that load of bullshit.
So if I've succeeded in any way, it's all because of Brian, and also if I fail, it's also because of Brian.